Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Weekend Winners, still in association with BetVictor, but this is our Royal Ascot preview show, a week full of top hats and top class racing. Can't wait to get stuck into this. We're going to give you our best bets for the first 4 days of the Royal Week. Now I'm being joined as ever by Declan Rix and Sam Boswell. Sam, so much to look forward to.
Yeah, an absolutely epic week of sport getting underway, and Royal Ascot certainly takes centre stage for us, and there's loads to get stuck into. It's been a really interesting week, a bit of a betting heat that you two are involved in. The next ahead of the CEO of the BHA. Kate, the good news is you're a slightly shorter price than Dec, who's currently our 200 to 1 outsider.
Yeah, I suspect the market move I saw for Kate is I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
Can you? Yeah. My business mind.
I just hope if she goes that she'll remember us when she's famous, kind of thing, you know.
Oh goodness, that would be one way to make yourself famous, wouldn't it? CEO of the BHA, not necessarily for good reasons.
Well, maybe
in recent
infamous,
years. Yeah, exactly. But who's backing me? Why have I shortened up?
Good luck to whoever takes that job.
Oh, definitely good luck to them. I know, to be fair, I've had probably some worse bets in my time, but oh, goodness me. But we have got some good bets on offer, though, and good offers with BetVictor, Sam. Yeah,
loads going on this summer. Massive summer of sport. I know Dec's a massive fan of England to win the Euros. BetVictor for new customers are going 100 to 1. Terms and conditions do apply for that. But also, we've got the sponsorship of the microsite as well, Dec, where people can find our offer. Kate, do you want to fill people in on that?
Yes, certainly so. So, as Sam was just saying there, that BetVictor have got the offer for you. It'll be coming up on your screen. If you bet £10, this is new customers only, then you'll get £40 in free bets and free spins. Of course, T's and C's apply, but make sure to claim that offer on the At The Races Ascot mega site. So, Dec, I mean, you must have been busy then with the mega site. And again, we've got plenty on there.
Yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks. Dean, Tom and myself been flat out, especially the two lads. But look, go on to the website at theraces.com/Ascot. It should be there. And it's an unbelievable resource. Like loads of quality content on there already, stats guides. There'll be horses to follow later in the week for myself. Simon Rowlands is taking a look at the 2-year-olds on his ratings and sectional timings and whatnot. And we've a feature there as well that Sky Sports presenters giving their 4 for Royal Ascot, which I'm hoping Katie Tracey will give us 4 horses for at some stage before the week starts.
Thanks for that. Thank you for that. I'm sure I will try my best to, but I am doing a guide for one of the races on the website as well, so make sure to stay tuned for that. As Dex was saying there, that so much on the website. Right, before we get stuck into the action properly though, a reminder as ever that our tips are not guaranteed to win. Please do gamble responsibly as always, but of course during Royal Ascot week. Now we begin with the first day on the Tuesday of Royal Ascot, and again we're going to give you our best bet then for each of these days as we currently record. So 3 Grade 1 races to kick us off. Dec, what was your best bet on day 1?
Day 1, yeah, we start. I'm going to start off in the Queen Anne, a French raider called Adol Nia. Really looking forward to this race. I think it's going to be run at a really strong gallop. I think Audience will go forward, Big Rock will go forward as well, and you know there's a couple of horses in there that will sit just behind the pace that will keep them honest. I think that's really going to suit this lad. Now just look how strongly he travelled this day. He just looks like one of those French horses who's crying out for a British style of racing, a good end-to-end gallop. And proper fast ground, because he's a lovely moving son of Sayuni. You know, I just think he's overpriced on ability. On my own ratings, I've got him on 112, and I've got Sharon on 112 as well. But Sharon's, you can back at 5 to 1, or you can back this guy at 20 to 1. You know, this was a big run. I think the combination of fast ground, a strongly run race, and the drop down to a mile could really bring out the best in them. And the ground is a little bit too quick for Factor Cheval and Big Rock. This guy could be one to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, and you just said there, I'm pleased that you picked out that part of the race, because it's probably just paid for those keen going tendencies towards the end of it. So like you say, a British style of racing will suit him no end, you'd imagine.
And he's trained by a guy called Francis Henry Graffard, who won the 2019 Coronation Stakes with Watch Me. So a good trainer who knows how to win at this meeting.
Yeah, definitely so. And the French invasion then again at Royal Ascot this year, hoping to come to fruition. I'm not, because I'm going for the same race. I'm going for the Queen Anne as well. I thought it was an absolute muddle of a race. Now, of course, we talk about the forecast time and time again, and it will come as no surprise to anyone the amount of rain that has been about of late. And there are still showers forecast on the build-up to Royal Ascot I wonder if we know that Royal Ascot, it dries like the Sahara, doesn't it, on the turf track there? But I wonder if there's still going to be enough juice in the ground for Sharon. Now, I don't think he's a horse where he's proven now that he is more ground versatile than we probably initially had him pigeonholed as at the start of the season with those first 2 successes. Because at Newbury last time out, the ground was drying all day there. Now, of course, this was the runaway winner audience, but Sharon was the only one to be able to bridge the gap between audience and the rest of the field. Big Rock, of course, blowing out in this one as well. So just look at the game attitude he has to make up that ground. And this was just a highlight for me that he is such an improved model this year. He's by Dark Angel. We see that from Dark Angel's progeny, that they just improve with time and time. So I'm hoping that Sharon will be able to confirm it yet again for all that. Finally, he's not being underestimated in the market, but he's a solid horse on solid
He's a
race.
likeable beast, isn't he? He's got a wonderful attitude. And he's a little bit tubby like myself, so I think he takes his racing well.
He takes it well. He conditions well then out of things. So we are both taking an aim at the Queen and Sam. You're going to join us?
No. I love this opening day. It is really for the purists, and if people are going to go for one day and you love your racing, I think the opening day is a fantastic one to go to. The St James's Palace, for me, it's all about clashes at these meetings, and hopefully, from my standpoint with who I'm tipping up, we see confirmation of that 2,000 guineas form with Notable Speech, who is, I guess, one of the bankers of the week. We're really lacking shorties at the front of the market, which I think really makes a much more compelling case for betting. But he's around, 5 to 4, I think, at time of recording. And I just think there's a lot to like about Charlie Appleby, the way he's plotted this horse, taking the Caribus route, of course, who went from the 2,000 guineas to then win this race. He takes on Rollinson again, who's obviously been seen since winning in Ireland. But for my money, I just feel like there's more to come. Don't forget that was his first effort on turf, which it's broke all the trends, didn't it, from the 2,000 guineas? Yeah. Should we just remind ourselves? Because none of us were with him this day.
Yeah.
But he blew them away. I think there's so much more potentially still to come. I suppose my nagging doubt is going to be, how many are going to turn up here? How tactical is it going to get? That's my concern.
Yeah, I was kind of going through the pace of the race myself. I don't see an awful lot of pace in the race. It could get really tactical, but as you can see there in the picture, he doesn't wear a cross noseband or anything. He looks like he's a pretty straightforward horse, but he is coming off a strongly run guineas on good ground, probably into a more tactical kind of race. So it'll be interesting to see how he adapts. I think that's going to be a fascinating race tactically to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I know Kempton, when you go back through, I appreciate they're different races. He did come from off the pace on a couple of those. I think one
right-handed as well.
Yeah, one of those he was held up. So I'm hopeful there's enough boxes ticked that actually I think he is, in my opinion, banker material, and I think he'll be a popular pick.
Yeah, when you said banker material then, that was notable, the fact that you entered with that line for this horse's preview. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see who exactly turns up for it if the weather is in the way that we expect. I mean, you'd hope that everyone should pretty much still turn up. Hartum likely to go to the Jersey, though.
And River Tiber, I think, could go to the Jersey as well. It was interesting there, you mentioned Rosalien, Sam. Unquestionable, a length behind Rosalien at Longchamp last weekend. You can back Rosalien at what price is he? Maybe 5 to 2?
Yeah, something like that.
And the O'Brien horse is as big as 40 to 1. He could be in a little each-way steal in that race there if you wanted an alternative option.
Those forgotten horses behind those at the head of the market. Right, they are our best bets for the Tuesday. Let us know in the comment section below who you are fancying for Royal Ascot's opening day. Right, we're on to the Wednesday now, funnily enough, of course. And the feature contest on day 2 is the Prince of Wales' Stakes. So, Sam, where were you looking for your best bet?
I don't go there, Kate. I'm going to go elsewhere, and I'm going to go for, we have to say it carefully, the Royal Hunt Cup.
Oh, phew. I breathe a sigh of relief every time.
We've got it out the way. Bastani, for me, is a really intriguing runner. We've only seen him once on this shores. That was at Epsom, where he was just touched off. We're going to watch a replay, actually, of a win on the all-weather back in France. And the French career was pretty good, actually. When you flick back through the form, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and then a debut that you could just write off. Showed a really nice attitude this day, really, really worked hard, ground it out, and I love that about horses. And at Epsom, that was really shown in spades, the tough attitude of this horse. I actually think the winner at Epsom had the right side. They had the rail for help. Runs again off a similar mark because of the fact that the race was an early closer, and I think was due to go up 4th, finishing 2nd at Epsom. a really interesting runner. I actually think Ascot's going to suit better than Epsom did. I always think Epsom's a challenging course. Some horses love it, some hate it. I don't think he didn't handle it, but I just think a conventional track at Ascot certainly makes him an interesting play. I think he's a big price as well.
Of all the races to go for throughout the entirety of the week, let alone then the Wednesday, the Royal Hunt Cup, goodness, it played you.
Got to have a bit of a swing sometimes, Kate, at these big prices. You'll get loads of extra places as well if you fancy an each-way dart. And for me, just flicking through my tracker, that was one I had noted.
Yeah, and we appreciate the French VTs that both of you have been picking out so far as well. All weather French form. It's not where I thought we were going to go, Dec. Where are you going?
No, yeah, I'm not as brave as Sam on the Wednesday. I'm going to go to the Duke of Cambridge Stakes, and it's Rogue Millennium for me. I'm hoping she can go back to back. Now, this is her winning the race last year, but the race is actually going to be switched onto the round course this year, which is interesting. Ascot said they've had some feedback from the jockeys and trainers, and they thought this was a race worth switching. But she has got form around the bend. We shouldn't forget she was second in the Matron Stakes behind the brilliant Sahira last season, although Leopardstown is a left-handed track. But I just like her. I think she's a Group 1 filly running in a Group 2 race, and she doesn't have a penalty. I thought she did really well to win this race last season because it was a tactical run race. She wasn't best positioned, but she showed a lot of pace, a lot of class, and a good ability to sustain the run. And I thought while she won by a neck in the end, I thought she was margined for a good bit more. She has changed stables. Now, she was with Tom Clover, is now with Joseph O'Brien. She did go to the sales after finishing up last season. I think she made 1.65 million guineas. But, you know, given the size of her and the pedigree, she should improve again this year. She's by Dubawi from a lovely Shadwell family on the distaff side. And she's a big girl as well, if I may say so.
She won't be offended.
Yeah, she won't be offended. I think she's well over 500 kg, so I expect her to improve with racing as the season goes on. I think she should be favoured. I just hope the ground stays quick and she gets some pace to run at, because when she's at the top of her game and in good form, she really takes the holes and travels, and I suspect she could take a big jump forward for a lovely and unlucky debut at the Curragh for the O'Brien Yard last time out. And
Dec, you mentioned it. Is it a bit like these big festivals or the jumps? Do you like to see horses that come back and peak at these festivals, repeat winners? Yeah, absolutely. It shows mentally more than anything that they can handle the occasion, because, you know, it gets a bit of razzmatazz there, and you know these horses are bred to be flighty animals, so some of them it can just fry their brain. But you know, we say it every year with Cheltenham, you love horses with festival form, and you know Royal Ascot is the exact same. Yeah, horses for courses as well, like I say, who've proven that they can deal with everything, for all that it's on a different track configuration than for this time around. And that was a luckless run, wasn't it? I was on her that day, so which was a proper good thing for that. But yeah, pinned in on the rail, didn't get the gap, so hopefully then the investment will be returned in. It's kind of minor sense, really, then, on what it costs. Very pretty penny, though, for Rogue Millennium. Now, I am going to the feature race on Wednesday, of course, the Prince of Wales Stakes. Cracking matchup. I'm going to have this whole carry-on all over again with August Rodin this season, aren't I? But White Birch, who beat him last time out, in my mind, I can't understand why he isn't favourite with these two duelling again here. Because August Rodin, he's a really tricky horse to weigh up, isn't he? He's very much, well, basically, you back him to win and then you play him, because he's so peaks and troughs. He's so all or nothing. I think he gave his running this day. It's bizarre to see a second in his form line, but I think on that basis, people are struggling to weigh up exactly what that Tattersalls Gold Cup form was worth. I think August Rodin gave his running, which is why you can mark up White Birch even more so. He's been his biggest enemy mentally, and that's why he's come good this time around, because they've really found the key to him. The question he's going to have to answer is, of course, showing that form now away from the Curragh. The same course and distance for his 3 successes this season in those 3 starts. Ascot's going to ask a whole other question of him. We're pretty hopeful he's going to go. We haven't had it completely set in stone yet. He was left in at the confirmation stage. Yeah, anyway, so we're pretty confident. I'm erring ever so slightly on that side of caution, because I wasn't getting the most 100% vibes. But hopefully he goes here then, deals with the occasion, and he can uphold that form with August Rodin, because I don't know what case you can make for August Rodin now, why he's going to reverse that form. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I was looking at that race. That's another race on paper I think lacks a bit of pace, although I think Aidan O'Brien and the Ballydoyle team have left in a horse called Hans Anderson, who could make the running for August Rodin. I wouldn't be surprised to see August Rodin ridden a good bit further forward in behind his pacemaker, so I suspect Colin Keane will keep the ride on the likeable grey.
and that would just be a little bit of a worry. But I agree, he should be favoured. He absolutely minced up Augusta Roden at the Curragh. And when you put in your selection, I went back and watched the replay. It was like he travelled all over him. Colin Keane took a pull two out. So, yeah, he should be favoured for me as well. But he probably did a horse with like a little bit of rain, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. But also, when he finished third in the Derby last year, that was on quick ground.
True.
So I don't think it's going to massively inconvenience him for all that. He obviously handles it a lot better than
I
us.
would just say Price is probably a little bit influenced by the Aiden factor. Let's not forget his record at Royal Ascot is impeccable, but I can completely see your point, Kate, and understand why you would be picking that horse.
Oh, thank you very much. But yeah, always Aiden, we fear. We trust and we fear with Aiden. Then if you're trying to take him on from what he can get horses to do to be able to bounce back. Right, that was the Wednesday. Now, before we move on to the Thursday, a reminder to like and subscribe to the At The Races YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. Right, on to the Thursday, day 3, the feature race, of course, and of the entire week. The Gold Cup comes up on this day. So, that race interest you or not?
No, not for a bet at the moment. I thought out of all the days, kind of at the moment, without having a confirmation stage, I thought Thursday was the trickiest. But we were talking about a fella called Aidan O'Brien, who does seem to do quite well at this meeting, and I'm hoping he's going to win the Norfolk on Thursday, because I think Whistle Jacket will take a fair bit of beating. A superbly bred son of No Nay Never, who is a full brother to good old Little Big Bear, who won the Windsor Castle at this meeting not too long ago, and I'm hoping his little brother can follow suit. But in the Norfolk on Thursday, I just like him for the race. I think he's probably the best 2-year-old we've seen so far this season. He's just typical of No Nay Never, really precocious, really speedy, professional with a good attitude. I could think that professionalism, I think, sets him apart. He's got good gate speed, he travels strongly, and he can maintain a gallop. He has won and run on really soft ground in Ireland so far this year, and I do think he looks like a horse who's a really high cruiser, who can maintain a gallop as opposed to quicken. So if the rain came for him, I would absolutely love that, because he could maybe be a little bit suspect to a horse with a bit of toe, a bit of class, a bit of gears, but he has so much going for him. Top team, top pedigree. Ryan Moore doing the steering. He will do for me on the Thursday, please.
Yeah, he has been a big talking horse as well, hasn't he? I feel like momentum is really building behind Whistle Jacket. This is only going to aid to that.
Well,
and of course,
the longer the kind of season's gone on, his form's been working out as well, hasn't it?
Exactly. That's the thing. It's that form line which seems to be the one to be following in. Then it's definitely going into Royal Ascot all the same. So Whistle Jacket in the Norfolk for deck. But Sam, you've got to be having a stab at the Gold Cup. This is your race now.
Yeah, no Courage Mon Ami, who obviously did us a massive turn last year, but.
You.
Well, yeah, my pocket. If you weren't listening, Kate, that's your fault.
I'm still sickened about that race, because I had a good bet each way on Coltrane, and I thought he was going to hack up turning for home.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can repeat the magic. Now, Royal Ascot doesn't have many beyond Kyprios in terms of an odds-on even money favourite this year. And last year, if you remember, it was really tricky for punters that were playing those shorties. I like Kyprios, but I don't like the price. And I think Gregory, for me, in the same colours of Courage Mon Ami, is an excellent opportunity to try and get him beat. We're going to watch the VT from last year, where Frankie Dettori actually gave a really good ride on this horse. Don't think he was the easiest this day. He was a bit stop-start, but Frankie got him to the front. Had to use up a bit of petrol to do that. This was over the 1 mile 6, and just really ground and ground and ground. This was only, I think, his 3rd start in life. He didn't race as a 2-year-old. He was obviously took a bit of a while to get ready, but the good ground was key this day. He then went on to the St Leger, where he was a little bit disappointing. Again, that was on softer ground, so I'm hoping the rain stays away for his chances. But I'm fairly convinced at around 6-1 before we get to the declaration stage. I thought it was a cracking play against him. I actually think this race could really cut up as well. And for me, as much as I like the favourite, he's not had to show too much in his 2 starts this season. And it's just a price factor. You know, you could really respect Aidan's record in this race, and it is daunting to take him on. But I just think Gregory's so unexposed. The run at York to blow the coppers away, I was pretty happy with that when he was 3rd. As long as we get good ground or better, he's really in the mix for me, unexposed at the trip.
I can see why you're taking on Kyprios, because I think he's the type of horse, you put him up against a horse rated 80, he'll beat him a neck.
Yes.
And if you put him up against a horse rated 120, he'll beat him a neck as well. So he's easily a horse you can see why people would want to have a go at him. So we'll see now. He was unlucky. If he was in good health last year, he could be going for his 3rd Gold Cup in a row.
Yeah, exactly. He could have been, like, say, one of those. But he's just a thinker, isn't he, about everything? We've seen that from him time and time time again. And you say about his 2 runs this year for Kyprios, yes, he's shown his well-being, but the RPRs have been well down then in those 2 starts, but he also hasn't had to do that much, so it's really tricky to try and weight it up.
He's a little bit lazy, but he's very likeable. Once you give him a little squeeze, he's good.
Well, Rixie, I'll get you back for that.
I was going to say, definitely make sure you do.
Speaking of likeable, James Doyle was a great feature actually on Sky Sports Racing about him earlier in the week. It's a really big week for him. Obviously, Wafnam Racing have really gone to town, and I'd be quite curious when we chalk up the top jockey market, just how close it is between him and Ryan, really. And I think James, it's a big week for him, and I hope he goes well because he's a really nice fella. Not just because I'm tipping up Gregory.
No, and you're the Wafnam fanboy now, 2 years in a row.
Wafnam Ultra over here. Certainly.
Yeah, Ultra over there.
Before they were cool as well. Yeah.
I know, exactly. Before the money was being spent and splashed everywhere.
If they need a representative, I'm here for them, Kate. That's what I'm saying.
Happy days, exactly. But I'm going to leave the Wafnan fanboy then in the Gold Cup to Gregory. So I'm also going for the same race, also taking on Kyprios as well. And again, price factored in. He's the horse to beat. He's the horse with the immense amount of ability. We know that. But he is priced up with that in mind. I mean, you can make the case on ability that he could arguably be even shorter if we knew he was definitely at his best. But he is just a thinker about the game. And the horse who is the superstar stayer, who never gets the credit for being a superstar stayer, is the aforementioned Coltrane, who loves Ascot, ran a blinder in this race last year. His last time out, we're going to see, this was over 2 miles in the Royal Stakes, again at Ascot. Just look at his head carriage. He's only wears that sheepskin noseband because of the yard he hails from. He doesn't need any extra help to get his head down and try.
I love him so much.
Oh, he's so game.
Class.
He's awesome. And his Ascot record, I know he's a 7-year-old now, but his Ascot record, he won the Ascot Stakes Heritage Handicap in 2022, second in the Long Distance Cup behind Trushan that same season, first in the Royal Stakes in 23, second in the Gold Cup last year behind Courage Mon Ami, beaten 3/4 of a length, and again then went to Ascot last time out, won the Royal Stakes again. So Kyprios, really talented, not 100% straightforward. Coltrane, very talented, 100% straightforward. So for me at those prices, I think it's quite insulting to dear old Coltrane. So I will happily stick with him then in the feature race of the week. Again, sort of a value play more so than anything else. But do let us know in the comments section who you are fancying for the Thursday of Royal Ascot. As we move on to day 4 now, on to the Friday. Of course, headed by the Commonwealth Cup and the Coronation Stakes, which is, Sam, I believe where you're heading.
Yeah, I mean, Kate, there's a very obvious pick here. Your eye catcher.
Yes.
El Malka, why are
And Dex Tip is just, oh, I know.
Why are you abandoning this horse?
Lethal Levi can move to one side. We've got the new chauffeur.
New sheriff in town.
There's a new sheriff. She's called El Malka.
This was the Newbury run prior to that 1,000 guineas win, and obviously we've discussed this at length on the show if you're a regular watcher of Weekend Winners, and you'll know just how unlucky she was this day. I appreciate she's gone off a big price for the 1,000, and you know, I suppose she was a little bit unbalanced at times and still won, and that's why I think going to Ascot, I'm almost more confident in her ability. I like the fact that Roger resisted the temptation to supplement for the Oaks. I appreciate there's plenty of stamina on the dam side, but being by Kingman, there's plenty of pace in there as well, and staying at this trip. Don't forget, this run was over the 7. The step up to the mile only came in the Guinea, so there's more to come from her. I really like her. I really, really like her, and I just thought, I don't quite understand the price that she's been in the lead up to this. This has always been the target. We've had positive reports on homework. I'm kind of sat here thinking, is it a little bit that, not Roger's an unfashionable trainer, but almost if he was trained by, I should say, was trained by somebody else, would she be a bit more of a talking horse? You know, if this was the Cheltenham Festival and you had a horse of that class going here, we'd be, you know, talking about 2-to-1 shot.
I suspect because it's a proper race. You've obviously got the winner of the Guineas, the winner of the Irish Guineas, and the winner of the French Guineas. It looks like they're all going to take each other on. And then you've got the Ballydoyle filly who missed the Guineas by Justify her name, opera singer. She's going to be in there as well.
She'll come forward.
Yeah, big time. I think along with the St James's Palace Stakes, the Coronation, I think is going to be an absolute cracker, one of the races of the week.
And the good news for me is the form I think out of that 1,000 is starting to stack up. Obviously, we had Fallen Angel who went over to Ireland and gave it a massive boost. You had the Godolphin horse that finished second in the Oaks. Okay, fairly beaten, but still I think that was a really solid run. And thankfully, the 4th that was the eye catcher, I think Tanfanga's going to go to France at the weekend and not reoppose. So there's at least one out of her way that I would have been a bit fearful of, would have been a bit of a moral winner, I think it's fair to say, on that day. So, yeah, for me, I just thought, really like the horse, and I think she's a good price.
There was one in that race I was looking at that is an absolutely whopping price, is Andrew Balding trained See the Fire. She is interesting at about 50 to 1 plus. Now, you'll probably get extra places on the day, but she was backed just before the off in the Guineas. And I think with the first 3 or 4 home in the Guineas, all had a run that season. Like a lot of them, the Fallen Angel making her debut, her seasonal debut. Same with the Balding filly. She's the one to keep an eye out at big price, especially on the day if you get some extra places. So that's when I'd throw in at a whopper price.
Oh, you're allowed to do that then, considering it's the Coronation
You're allowed to
Stakes.
come second deck and get
Yeah,
your
exactly.
way part. I'm
Too
not
old.
worried about that.
I'll take that all day at 50s, yeah.
I know, but like you say, she's done us the turn already then, so hopefully she'll be able to do that here. And people are probably just underestimating because she was such a big price winner of the 1,000 Guineas. But, Dak, are you going to stay loyal or are you not looking at that
No, I'm
race?
abandoning ship as well, but only because the Coronation is such a warm race. You know, I do think it's going to be one of the races of the week, especially if they all stand their ground. But I'm going to go to the other big race on Friday. I'm going to go to the Commonwealth Cup. This is another race that's shaping up to be an absolute belter. I think all the big players look like they're going to line up here, and it's going to be a race run at a strong gallop as well, I think. So it's going to be certainly a case of, you know, the best horse coming to the fore. I think you're going to need 2 things to win this race. You're going to need to travel strongly and you're going to need to stay, because even though it's a 6 furlong contest with all the pace on, I think it's going to be a bit of a war of attrition. And I'm going to go for good old oh no, I'm going to butcher
Buccaneero.
Buccaneero Forte. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Roll your eyes. It always to mask a lack of language.
That's it. So yeah, I just think he's a player in this race. This was his run in the Coventry Stakes last season over the same course and distance, and I thought he deserved an awful lot of credit because it was probably a decent Coventry. But he went from a 5 furlong tactical heavy ground Curragh Maiden win to a good ground, strongly run 6 furlong race, stepping up in grade. And I thought he just adapted really well. You know, you could forgive any horse there, you know, being really green and out of their comfort zone, but he showed like he belonged at that level. And then as the season went on, he got better and better. He obviously put up a sensational performance in the Phoenix Stakes later in the campaign, and that form makes him overpriced. You know, there's a few in there. Van Dijk, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him at 5 furlongs maybe at some stage this season. And given it's a race that's going to be run at a really strong gallop, you know, could he be running at a Petra late? I'm hoping so, and I'm hoping a Book of Forte is the horse.
Close enough.
Yeah, who's going to pick up the pieces. But I loved his Lacken win as well at the start of the season at Naas under a penalty. He showed brilliant speed, quickened away from the runner-up. Looked like he was going to bolt up, but I think he needed the run late, and he still managed to win. So yeah, he will do for me. I'm not going to say his name again.
No, I was really looking forward to it.
Absolutely butcher it. But
the added flair.
Forte.
There you go, exactly. The added flair to it always masks an actual understanding of the language. So yeah, nicely done. I bottled it slightly with going for Van Dijk then in the Commonwealth Cup, because the closer we get to the time...
I forgot you were on Van Dijk.
Oh,
I wasn't even having a go. I didn't mean to have a go.
I bottled it closer because I'm just scared of the Shake of Aid horses in there, where Van Dijk just looks very sort of vulnerable now at the head of market for all that is compensated ever so slightly into his price. Hoping to see that, but I'm not going to put him up as a best bet because I bottled it. So I'm going to be going to the Albany instead. What a race to go for instead. Fairy Godmother, though. Not just because, great name, she's by Knight of Thunder, my absolute favourite sire. Fascinating, though, that, of course, she's a Ballydoyle runner, but she's by Knight of Thunder. So hopefully we're going to see more Knight of Thunders then coming out of Ballydoyle. But I love her. She cost 425,000 guineas as a yearling. Now, she was beaten as the 4-7 favourite on her debut, but that was behind Sparkling Sea, who looked the sharper type physically that day. Now, that form was reversed when these 2 fillies met again on their next start, Group 3 Fillies Sprint Stakes at Naas. And Fairy Godmother, she could be marked up for that because she dropped off a steady pace, but she quickened really nicely to stay on well over the 6 furlong trip. So I think the stiff 6 furlongs of Ascot will really see her to a better light, and she is a very smart type. So
looks a strong girl, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, for her to be overturned as the 4-7 favourite on her debut, I'd be very forgiving of that, because Ballydoyle's fillies and any horse first time up then this season, let alone the debutants, and the fact that she probably just needed that conditioning for her next start. So I'd be pretty comfortable she's got further to come again then. So they are our look ahead to our best bets on the Friday. Again, fairly differing opinions there, but do let us know in the comment section below who you are fancying for day 4 of Royal Ascot as we move over to the soft set to give you our best bets. Now, the all-important part, of course, our best bets for the first 4 days of Royal Ascot. So, Dec, would you like to kick us off?
Yes, I'll kick us off. Obviously, a little bit tricky. We don't have the ground, we don't have the draw and whatnot. So, getting those excuses in early before the pelters come in. But yeah, I'm going to just keep it simple. The three horses that I've mentioned earlier in the show are going to get the nod for the best bet, the nap and the long shot. And the nap is going to be Whistle Jacket in the Norfolk Stakes for me. Like I said earlier in the show, I think he's the best 2-year-old we've seen so far this season. He's got a wonderful pedigree, being a full brother to Little Big Bear, and he's just typical of no nay never. Precocious, straightforward, pacey, and he just looks a real professional. And in this 2-year-old division, that counts for plenty, especially at a place like Royal Ascot. The next best is another O'Brien trained, but this time I'm going to go for the Joseph O'Brien trained Rogue Millennium in the Duke of Cambridge Stakes. Winner of the race last year, but that was on the straight track. This year it's going to be run on the round track, but as we've seen in the Matron, although that was going left-handed, she clearly performs well enough around the bend. Loved her comeback run. She just looked like she'd need it. She's a big girl with a big pedigree and a big price tag. I think she's a Group 1 filly running in a Group 2 race, and if she gets some pace to run at, I think that will enhance her chances all the more. And then the long shot, we're going to kick off the week in the Queen Anne Stakes, and I'm going to go for Dolali, the French raider from the Francis Henry Graffard Yard. This fella just looks a typical French horse to me that needs typical British racing. He wants a good gallop to run at, and he wants good ground. He's got a wonderful pedigree as well, and his trainer knows how to win at the Royal Meeting. So those will be the three for me, ladies and gents.
Thank you very much then. Yeah, we've seen an upset, I mean, even as recent as last year in the Queen Anne. So 20-1 shot to kickstart the week would see you well, Rixie.
Hopefully.
Boswell, what do you like?
Yeah, well, I'm keeping it really simple and going with things that I think are going to win, funny enough.
Oh, handy.
Notable speech for me has got to be my nap, one of the shortest price horses at the meeting, but with good reason. I really think he's got more to offer. This would be just his second start on turf. He's had plenty of racing. I do think he's versatile to handle if there's not the pace that he would probably like in the race, and hopefully he can really go on to become a bit of a star in that mile division for the rest of the season. El Manca, I think, is an absolutely cracking price. Obviously, at time of recording, this is a little bit ahead of things, but I really, really fancy her to confirm what we know about that 1,000 guineas, which is it's starting to look like a strong race. And forget the fact that she was such a big price when she won it. I think she will stamp her authority in what looks, as Declan said earlier in the show, a very good renewal of the race. Then finally, we come to my long shot, which is going to be Crimson Advocate. Again, we've touched on the show. Horses that have won at Royal Ascot before. You go back to the Queen Mary run. I really like this effort against Relief Rally, who, of course, has been a really good yardstick and just getting up, reported to have done a really nice piece of work before she set sail from America. Or I should say flown, shouldn't I? Definitely not on a boat, wouldn't be making it here. But yeah, there's a lot to like. And if you just go back through the piece of form, beat a horse called Reef Runner, who actually beat Valiant Force last year's Norfolk winner last time. So I think there's a little bit to show that since then, there's plenty of form to confirm that going to be a nice horse and at a big price as well. And I should just add, William Buick at the moment is showing as likely to ride. James Doyle's on another Waffenham horse, but let's be honest, William Buick, a very, very able deputy, a reversing of the roles we've seen a few years ago.
Yes, exactly. I know. Wouldn't that be a bit of sort of, I wouldn't say poetic justice, because I think both
it would be if I'm on at 20-1, Kate.
It definitely would be. You don't care what it would be. If it was 20-1 going in for Crimson Advocate, then fair play to you for that. Right, I feel kind of less original with my long shot now, but my nap is going to be White Birch. I don't know why he's not favourite to uphold that form then with August Rodin from last time out. So now that he's going to get the green light for the Prince of Wales' stakes, so he won't mind the ground. Whatever it turns up like for White Birch either, he's already shown that he's just been unstoppable this year in his 3 starts so far. Does need to show it away from the Curragh, but as I say, can uphold that Tattersalls Gold Cup form from last time out. Charon is going to be the next one as my next best bet. This is just for solid proposition in the Queen Anne Stakes, where we don't have an awful lot of solid propositions in there. And he's shown improvement at the age of 4 in all 3 of his starts so far this season. And he was the only one to be able to get to the loose on the front end audience in the Lockinge last time out. So hopefully he can back that up at 7-2. 12-1. I am kind of pushing pushing the long shot here, really, for Coltrane. But that's just an insulting price for me. For also finished second in the Gold Cup last year, and I don't think he can be dismissed. For all that Kyprios is the horse to beat, but his percentage take-up of the market is going to allow me that little bit of a bigger price than about the wonderful Coltrane. Right, that was a look ahead then to the first 4 days of Royal Ascot on this show. So a big thanks to Dec and to Sam for all of their hard work as per usual. A big thank you to you at home for watching. Best of luck with your bets this week. Of course, do remember that all of Royal Ascot's races are live on Sky Sports Racing. And we'll be back at the same time next week from a different location, though. We will be at Royal Ascot with weekend winners previewing the Saturday. Don't miss it.